It's time to see just how many of my Black Series wishes came true. Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I am Grand Moff Tony. Now, last year we embarked on a great quest to build a top 10 or top 5 wish list for every piece of Star Wars canon media. We did all the movies, we did all the TV shows, we did most of the games, and I think on the whole, that whole project was very, very successful. I think we highlighted some really important gaps in the Black Series line, and some areas of the canon that could really do with some more representation in the Black Series. Of course, one of the things that started to happen while I was making those lists is I would have to go back and change them, because before I could get to the video, they would announce that they were releasing the figure that I was going to ask for, so I'd have to go back and change my list, and in some instances I had to change the number one pick. Like, my number one pick for my Kenobi list was originally a battle-damaged Vader, which obviously came out. And since it came out before I'd managed to get my video done, I figured I should probably go in and change it. And that got me thinking just how many of the Black Series figures that I wished for in the first, I guess you could call it the first season of the Wishlist series, actually ended up being made. And where did I kind of fall on the final product? Was it everything that I hoped for? Did it maybe fall short? I think you know which ones I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go through all of the picks from my wishlist series that have found their way either into the pipeline or all the way into stores and all the way into our collections, and go through each of them and let you know what I think of each one. Now, I'm not going to be including any of the figures that were pipelined or revealed before I got to make my video, so any of the times where I had to actually change my list. However, because I'm a massive cheat, I will be including honorable mentions. First up, from the Phantom Menace wishlist all the way back at the start of the series, Kid Anakin Skywalker is coming to the line. He's currently in the pipeline. To be honest, it looks like everything I could have asked for. They've gone and they've put his backpack in the box, which was one of the accessories that I asked for, and he looks brilliant. It looks like a perfect representation of that little Anakin from the movie. I still kind of wish we could have got some more interesting accessories in the box, like maybe his pod racing helmet or his grease gun or something to make him look like a little more engineer-y. But on the whole, the CG renders that I've seen, and I think we've seen some in-person shots of this figure, and they've all been really, really good. I am 100% happy. I like the likeness. I like the outfit. It looks like a great little figure. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Similarly, and also from the Phantom Menace, there is a new Padme Amidala finally coming to the Black Series. It's not the one that I wanted. I really want the red dress Invasion Queen Amidala, but I said in the video I will settle for the battle dress Padme, and that is the one they've chosen to go for. They've gone for the final battle of Theed Padme, and I am really, really pleased with this one as well. It looks so, so good. I used to have this exact figure back in the 90s when I was collecting my old Star Wars toys. I had this exact Padme, and it was always one that I enjoy playing with because it's such a great character. The sculpt looks fantastic, the likeness looks great. Again, this is just something we've seen CG renders of because it's still in the pipeline. We may have seen some of the actual in-person shots of it, like the Anakin. I feel like that was on a Hasbro Pulse live stream recently, but I am really, really pleased with everything I saw. I'm so happy this figure is coming, and I'm so glad that my Attack of the Clones Padme will no longer be alone. Diving into the Clone Wars, it finally happened. Fives made it to the Black Series. I am so, so pleased for all of you who managed to pick him up. I didn't. I missed out on Fives. I was there, sitting in my French class at college, waiting for the time to tick over. As it ticked over into the window of opportunity to snag this one, I distinctly remember getting called on for something, and I missed the window because I forgot to go back. So when I finally went back in and went onto Yakface's Instagram, followed the link, they were all gone. Now, it seems like he is still reasonably attainable on the aftermarket. I will go back and get him one day. It's just I wasn't going to spend a ton of money on it. But I have got the other ARC troopers in the line. I've got Echo and I've got Jesse. And based on how they came out, Fives is probably great. I'm sure he's fantastic because I love these figures so much. So yeah, I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to get my 5s. I've got my Echo, I've got my Jessie. I'll make do until the time comes and I can finally add 5s to my collection. But how great was it to finally get him in the line? Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, there are entire YouTube channels built around asking for 5s for the Black Series. A Clone Wars wish that came true that I did get my hands on, however, was pre-Vizsla. Now, this figure was the center of quite a lot of controversy when he came out, because it went on the old Jango Fett body from all the way back in probably 2015, I think that figure came out. It's an old one. And yeah, the problems translate into the new figure, I have to say it. The articulation really struggles. It's very difficult to kind of get him to stand up and hold a dynamic pose. However, if you're not looking for a dynamic pose, if you're looking for a more kind of neutral and more intimidating posture, you can really pull that off with this body, because for all of its shortcomings in terms of articulation and engineering, it is a very bulky, very intimidating, very heavy figure. It dominates its spot on your shelf, and it does look very, very imposing. Now, I've seen people take pieces from the actual release and transfer them over to the Death Watch Mandalorian body, which is actually the body that I recommended using when I did my old video, and the results are much better in terms of articulation, but not quite there in terms of bulk and intimidation factor. I got him in hand, and I'm able to find some really cool poses that I can put him in where he just looks powerful, he looks intimidating, and I really like how he came out. But I can't help wonder, what might have been. He did obviously end up coming with his blasters and the Darksaber and his very, very cool helmet, so it's a very good box. It looks great. I don't know, on the whole, I'm still pleased with it. I'm pleased it came out, I'm happy I got it. Could it have been better? Maybe. It's still a wish that came true. A Revenge of the Sith pick that surprised me in all the best ways is the Droideka. I remember when they pipelined this, and I remember my mind started to race. Like, what is this set gonna look like? What is this figure going to be able to do? Is it going to be just a static standing droid? Is it going to have the articulation? If it's going to have that articulation, is it going to be able to go all the way and go down into ball mode? Will there be blast effects? Will there be a shield effect? And I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw it in hand on that Hasbro livestream. Watching them actually fold this thing up into ball mode and show you, yes, it absolutely can do that, and then going one step further and it doesn't just flop over, it's got stability in ball mode. I was really, really impressed. And while we didn't get any of the blast effects or the shield effect, there is a Marvel Legends What If figure that I saw revealed on Instagram recently that comes with a very, very nice dome-shaped shield effect, which I think will go perfectly with the Droideka. So they may not be putting one in the box, but they've shown us where we can find one. The Droideka has ticked off every box that I had planned for it, like coming in scale, because these things are massive, and with the ability to roll up into ball mode. I could not be happier. I am so pleased that this incredible droid is finally coming to the Black Series. And I love the paint job on it as well. I just want to throw that in on the end. I adore the paint job they went with. He looks great. A final pick from Revenge of the Sith that is coming true. We are getting him again. The big bad is coming back to the line. It is Darth Sidious. Now, I fussed all the way through my prequel wish lists about wanting more of Sidious, more of Palpatine. I don't care if it's Senator Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious as a hologram, Darth Sidious from Revenge of the Sith. If they went the full mile and recreated my favourite Darth Sidious toy from when I was a kid, where you can switch between the one and the other. So you can imagine my joy when they pipelined a Revenge of the Sith Darth Sidious that is coming down to the line. The image that they used is from his duel in the Senate with Yoda, so that really does tell me this is going to be a proper Revenge of the Sith Darth Sidious. He's going to have those proper regal black robes from the end of the film. It's going to look so, so good. And something that's made me really excited for this figure, and other people have said this already, is the success with the Darth Malgus hood. Now, Darth Malgus has the best soft goods hood in the entire line. They found a way to glue down the hood at the front front, and that just gives it the perfect shape to sit over a head. And that's why I'm so thrilled about this figure. Like, we're finally going to get a Darth Sidious with a proper fitting hood that's going to look so cool. Sidious is coming back to the Black Series. Like, what more do you want from me? I am absolutely thrilled. And you know what this means? This means you can go back to that old Rise of Skywalker line and bring me my Sith Eternal Darth Sidious. Moving into the original trilogy, I only really had one figure that I sort of asked for that is coming to the line, and that is Momar Nadon. I mentioned him as part of my A New Hope honorable mentions, because I just kind of lumped all of the Cantina patrons into one honorable mention, and this was one that actually ended up coming true. The Black Series produced Doc Ondar, which to my understanding is a fantastic figure. I haven't managed to track him down myself yet, but this got us all wondering like what's coming next, and of course it's Hammerhead from the Cantina, so I am absolutely counting this as a figure that I asked for that is coming out. This is one of those absolutely classic background Star Wars characters, so the fact that we're finally getting to represent him on our shelves is kind of giving me the push that I might have needed to say, yeah, you know what? I will build a Cantina set diorama and I will have these guys sitting around. It's gonna look awesome. We kind of knew he was coming as soon as Doc Ondar was revealed, because you're not just gonna do all of that work for one figure. But yeah, Momar Nadon is gonna be a fantastic addition to the collection. And finally, the final wishlist pick that is coming to the Black Series line is the Ahsoka series variant of Grand Admiral Thrawn. They announced this figure quite recently on a live stream, and I was absolutely thrilled right up until the moment that they said he was coming out spring of next year. And now I'm just going to have to sit here and seethe for the entire year waiting for this figure to come out. Grand Admiral Thrawn, as anyone who follows my channel knows, is my all-time favorite Star Wars character. So I will grab every figure of him that I can. And getting a live-action specific representation of Grand Admiral Thrawn as portrayed by Lars Mikkelsen, it's just something that I've wanted since the moment it was announced. I've been sitting there, I've been very well behaved, I've been looking at those brilliant 3D renders of custom-made heads on Etsy, and I've resisted because I have held true to the idea that there will be an official one, and I have been rewarded. Grand Admiral Thrawn from Ahsoka is the final wishlist pick from last year that is coming true, even if it's not coming true until next year. So there you have it. Those were all 9 of my Black Series wishlist picks that have made their way either into the pipeline or all the way into full-scale production and into our collections. If you haven't checked out my wishlist videos, why not? Get on that. They're really good, and you can trust me, I made them. And with all of that said, let me pass this subject off to you. What are some figures that you've wished for that came true, and how did getting those figures in hand feel? Like, what did it feel like to get what you'd asked for? Like, were you happy with it? Were you satisfied? Speaking of wishlists, the wishlist series itself is on something of a hiatus. Think of it as a gap between, like, Season 1 and Season 2. Obviously, I fully plan to go back and talk about Star Wars Squadrons, and then there have been several EU and Legends properties that have been requested in the comments on the series, so I will look at returning to those. Hey, maybe you can put that in the comments too. What is a Black Series wishlist that you would like me to go back to? Like, are we talking about some Legends stuff? Are we talking about maybe Black Series vehicles that I'd like to get? Like the smaller 1 or 2 person speeder vehicles? Because that seems to be the only ones they would go for in that scale. Or maybe a HasLab wishlist. What's a HasLab wishlist going to look like? That'd be great. Ooh, I could come up with tiers and everything. I'm getting ahead of myself. In the meantime, however, I've been Grand Moff Tony. Those were my Black Series wishes that came true. You may subscribe when ready. I was about to say Revenge of the Fallen. Wrong franchise. Oh, hang on.